like to give a shout out to Art Pierce and his team for a great session. This is really cool. So my name is Yolanda Savage-Narva, and I'm a transportation public health professional. And today I want to talk to you about so close yet so far away. And we're talking about communities of color, older adults, and people with disabilities. So you guys, I'm going to need your help with this presentation. So what I want you to do when you see something that you just think is unfair, you say, that's not right. Let me hear it. Okay. So in spite of everything that happened in 1955, all of the beautiful interstates that were built, people start revolting against the highways because the highways and the freeways started coming through their neighborhoods. And they That's right. So you can't understand the city without using this public transportation system. Have you seen anyone on your transit system that looks this way? Just curious. Oh boy. Okay. New York. So I want to start with the city of Atlanta, and the first thing I want to say is, who's from Atlanta? That's not right. Okay, so I want to say gerrymandering is a big problem in Atlanta. There are 28 counties in metro Atlanta alone. Only 2 of those counties have MARTA running through them, so that is a big deal. That's not right. Oh boy, Boston, I got to read you this quote. 63-year-old Terry Cherry crisscrosses Massachusetts up to 7 times a day on the local bus, and she's doing this for her work. She said she would do something different. She would walk if there weren't heels, but she can't do that. That's not right. Cleveland, population is decreasing, income is decreasing, and 60% of trips on transit are work-related. Do the math. That's not right. City of Los Angeles. There are lots of stats about Los Angeles, but one I need to tell you. East LA has the largest percentage of land covered by freeways in all of LA. That's not right. Miami. I don't want to talk about transit in Miami. I want to talk about pedestrian deaths in Miami. 23% of the deaths in Miami are pedestrian related. We can't have that. We need to do something about that. Milwaukee. I don't know a lot about Milwaukee, but I do. But I do know that the advocates in Milwaukee just won a $13.5 million lawsuit because they were left out of the money for transit. That's not right. Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. All I can say is that is quite a welcome sign. Okay, Seattle, 40% of low-income citizens live outside of the city. So that means we need to get our bus service outside of the city so we can bring these people into the city. That's what we need to focus on in Seattle. I love Seattle, but we got to get outside of the city to make sure that people get into the city and can actually do the work they need to do. Not right. So this is St. Louis. Who's from St. Louis? I think this is probably something from the 1800s, and we're talking streetcars here. That's pretty much what I have to say. Who's from Washington, D.C.? Taxation without representation. That's So for those of us who live in Washington, D.C., we know that some parts are walkable and some aren't, and we have to fix that. Okay. So how do we do that? There are so many different ways we can do that. Promising practices around design, around housing, around advocacy. There's a long list, but we want to at least start here. Design. Check this out. I'm sure you've all seen this before. What happened to the days of pedestrians roaming and conquering the streets. And all I have to say, the solution to this is complete streets, complete streets. So my next slide is about housing. Our housing, some people are over here, some people are in this group. Housing and transportation have to be married. We can't develop transportation and housing separately. So we have to make sure those things are done in concert. That would help. Advocacy. Your voice has to be heard. Communities cannot do anything without working together. Advocacy is key. I can't say much more about that, but advocate for what you want. That's right. Advocacy. So, if I ruled the world, my 4-year-old self, speed would hover around 15 miles per hour. Pedestrians would roam the streets going horizontally, vertically, and everywhere in between. No horns, no sirens, none of that. And high-speed rail would get me to school in 8 seconds flat. All right. Just read that quote.